tomorrow at 9.
Nutritious and tasty meals facing unbelievable obstacles. Can the much maligned school lunch be saved? Plus, unwelcome guest, the Pope's tumultuous visit to Turkey, a Christian in a Muslim land. Can the pontiff really separate the pastoral from the political? And Happy Feet. These emperors are ruling at the box office.
From the global resources of ABC News, with Terry Moran in Washington, Martin Bashir and Cynthia McFadden in New York City, this is Nightline, November 28, 2006.
Good evening, I'm Cynthia McFadden. We're going on the front lines of the child obesity wars tonight to the school cafeteria, where millions of kids eat every day. America's child obesity rate has tripled in the last generation, and little surprise, the food in most school cafeterias isn't helping. So tonight, the obstacles one woman faced when a school district hired her to try and turn horrible to healthy. She's a celebrity chef turned lunch lady who's learned just how hard it is to stir up the school lunch. ABC's Juju Chang reports from Northern California.
Hot stuff!
Amid the stacks of sweet potato fries.
And then, of course, the tomatoes.
And a gigantic pot of pasta sauce.
There's onions and celery and carrots and yellow squash and zucchini.
She is an unlikely general.
So do we have enough meat sauce and everything
waging a
ready?
daily war against junk food.
We as adults have to understand that what we feed our children and what we teach them about food is actually killing them. And also that we're talking about a world that's going to have 40 or 50% of the children having diabetes.
Welcome to Ann Cooper's humble battlefield, the central kitchen of the Berkeley, California public schools. She's trying to change how American children eat, one serving at a time.
There's 9,600 kids in the school district, and we feed about 4,000-ish for lunch, 2,000 for breakfast, and we also do about 2,000 snacks a day.
And while her small army of food service workers are determined, they are woefully ill-equipped.
I don't have a stove. I'm cooking 2,000 lunches a day. I don't have a stove.
That's mind-boggling.
I'm a chef. I don't have a stove. It's the highly processed food that they've been serving for so long in schools. They don't need a stove. If you don't cook anything, you don't need a stove, right?
It's the legacy of decades of federal cutbacks to school lunch programs.
That's the kind of food.
It's a grilled cheese in a bag.
That was 100% of the food that was served before I came, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Berkeley schools, like most American cafeterias, are poorly funded. They abandoned cooking in favor of pre-made, pre-packaged food.
These things would be heated in here, so you would fill these racks with these things and put them in the oven and heat them, and then feed them to the kids right out of the bags. And so if
It looks like something they'd serve on an airplane.
It's worse than airplane food, so it's this or this, you know? I mean,
So
that's
what's
what
Ann Cooper's radical idea? Fresh, nutritious school lunches. The chef, without a stove, manages to roast chicken that isn't a nugget.
Some, like this, big.
Who could be against that? Don't get Ann started. First on her list, an entrenched bureaucracy.
The USDA would much rather open a can of peaches and high fructose corn syrup than have a farmer call and tell you they have peaches and you want to make something out of it. They hate that.
You see, the U.S. Department of Agriculture subsidizes farmers and ends up with too much of things like corn, which turns into high fructose corn syrup, which gets used in things like sodas and canned peaches, which often winds up in school cafeterias, sold to them by the government at a discount.
All of this excess food that's not necessarily healthy ends up getting pushed onto our kids' plates.
Which is why cooking meals from scratch is not nearly as easy as it sounds.
So there's all sorts of nutrients hidden in that crust, huh?
Right, and then we're putting them together here.
Don't tell anybody. Don't tell the kids.
Oh, don't worry. They know already. The kids and their finely honed taste buds put up some of the fiercest resistance.
Well, what do you think about the school lunches?
Well, yesterday they said that they were on the lunch menu. They said that they were gonna have plain hot dogs. When I got there, they had veggie hot dogs.
I can tell by the look on your face that you didn't like that so much.
Oh.
How come?
Well, I'm not a vegetarian, first of all. And it tasted very nasty.
So what'd you do? Did you eat it?
No.
So you didn't even try it?
Well,
Oh, you did?
I bit it, but I spit it out.
There you go. Who's next?
And the ugliest battle so far, the Great Pizza Uprising, which culminated in this butcher paper petition signed by hundreds of students protesting the chopped veggies with low-fat mozzarella on a whole wheat crust made of spelt.
We have a few complaints. We do not like the veggie pizzas, nor do we like the pork roast with applesauce. And, you know, our input would be, regarding this subject, that the veggie pizza be more pizza-like.
Suffice to say, changes were made. But clearly, revolutionizing school lunches is hard work.
Morning.
Anne's up at 3:30, at the kitchen by 5. She puts in grueling 10-hour days.
Okay, you can carry the other one.
And while she looks like a chef
I'm going to use the potato starch to thicken the gravy.
and acts like a chef,
Just cooking stuff. We cook stuff.
she often sounds like a political activist.
So $7 billion for school food. 7, that's all. We spend $50 billion a year on diet aids, 117 to 120 billion on diet-related illness, and the war is costing somewhere between 3 and 5 billion a week. I mean, if we took 3 weeks off of the war, we could double what we spend on kids' health for an entire year by feeding them better food.
That fiery rhetoric springs from the heart of a rebel. Anne herself dropped out of high school, drifted as a teenager, until she landed her first job in a kitchen in Colorado. Something clicked. She'd found her passion.
If I was in my restaurant and I ran out of something, I'd make it.
During her 3 decades as a chef, she's catered banquets for 20,000, cooked on cruise ships, chefed for the rich and famous, from Hillary Clinton to the Grateful Dead. For Anne, cooking has always been a great career, but now it's a calling.
I'm not a chef anymore. I'm a lunch lady, and that's a good thing. And I want to bring a real professional look and feel and attitude to people who are serving kids food.
How you doing?
Besides changing the bureaucracy and winning the kids over, Anne has very little money.
You have a fabulous looking plate.
She has roughly $3.50 a day per child for breakfast and lunch, and nearly 60% of that goes to labor and overhead.
So you're left at best case with 60 cents to serve a nutritious, delicious meal to a kid of about 600 calories. It's impossible. And that's why we have such, you know, bad food in most schools, because there's so little money. And we really need to change this.
Which brings us to yet another big obstacle of Anne's campaign. Just 2 blocks away from Berkeley High is a fast food mecca.
At McDonald's. McDonald's is good.
We're gonna go eat Domino's today.
What are you having for lunch? Oh, you're eating cottage cheese.
And finally, there's parents like me who think they've been doing the right thing by giving their kids stuff like chocolate milk.
As far as I'm concerned, chocolate milk is soda in drag. Most chocolate milk has more calories and more sugar per ounce than soda. And just read the label.
That's so funny.
At least I'm not alone. A lot of well-meaning grown-ups get it wrong. While we were there, we met Adrisa, who volunteers her time mentoring Kalani, a 5th grader. She dropped by with a bag of McDonald's as a special treat.
This is like kind of a reward for her doing well on her 50 states test. On the 50 states test? So, did you ask for this reward?
No, she offered it.
But tell her why. I mean,
Because I knew on my test, I got an A.
I don't think there's any place for it here. We're trying so hard to showcase other things.
and the Dorito chips and the mini Oreos. And, ooh, that's a lot.
And there are plenty of lunch bags packed by adults full of forbidden goodies.
Oh, that's healthy.
Just as the battle looks insurmountable, a small victory.
Do you think the school lunch program is working if the kids aren't actually eating it?
Actually, they have a salad bar here.
Oh, do you eat from the salad bar?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's healthy.
Yeah.
Yum. In fact, when I tried the salad bar myself, along with the 5th graders at Malcolm X Elementary School, the kids were eager to eat the fruit salad, a recipe they once tried in class.
Wow. So you helped make it?
Yeah.
Does that make you want to eat it more?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Another day of lunch. I still have kids lined up for salad. I just love that.
Who knows? Maybe someday they'll be clamoring for the barbecued tofu.
Barbecue tofu.
Okay, can I try one? Tastes like barbecue. It's good. It's not bad.
For Nightline, this is Juju Chang in Berkeley, California.
The lunch lady and the politics of school lunches. Just ahead on Nightline, the Pope at a crossroads. Benedict's high security visit to Turkey. Can he calm the anger there against him? And penguins in peril. They're starring in the latest box office smash, but the real-life birds in tuxedos have nothing to laugh about.
ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Enbrel. Ask your doctor about Enbrel today.
I know rheumatoid arthritis is painful, but I didn't know it could attack my joints.
Scientists believe that in moderate to severe RA, your immune system can cause serious damage.
But Enbrel enables me to fight progressive joint damage.
Enbrel works on your immune system to suppress inflammation, help relieve pain and fatigue, and keep joint damage from getting worse.
Enbrel gives me energy to do many of the things I love.
Because prescription Enbrel suppresses your immune system, it may lower your ability to fight infections, such as an open sore or the flu. So don't start it if you have one. Tell your doctor if you're prone to them or if you've been treated for heart failure, or if you experience persistent fever, bruising, bleeding, or paleness while on Enbrel. Serious, sometimes fatal events, including infections, lymphoma, nervous system, and blood disorders have occurred. Common side effects included injection site reaction, infection, and headache.
Ask your rheumatologist and envision your possibilities with Enbrel.
Tonight on Kimmel, the return of the Latin lover, Wilmer Valderrama.
You brought your little brother here, right?
Yeah, my little brother's here tonight. He's about to turn 6 years old.
Keep him away from my niece, by the way.
Plus, American Idol's Chris Daughtry hits the stage on an all-new Kimmel coming up only on ABC.
William Shatner hosts an all-new Show Me the Money, ABC Wednesday.
Who cried?
I did. Not me.
I saw you with your hand in your chin.
That's called concentrating on the moment. I wasn't crying, okay? I mean, seriously, I don't know why you got...
See, Dad? This car is very fiscally responsible. I found that people don't realize how powerful it is. I just hit the gas, and it gets great mileage. I can't afford not to feel that adrenaline rush that comes with variable valve timing that gets you 37 miles a gallon. And that is pretty sweet. And I thought you, especially you, would appreciate it.
The fuel-efficient and powerful Corolla S. Now get $500 cash back on Corolla. Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward.
In Turkey today, Pope Benedict arrived in the heart of this Muslim country under unprecedented security. The Pope enraged many Muslims 2 months ago with his comments about Islam. Today was seen by many as his latest effort to make amends. ABC's David Wright reports from Turkey.
Pope Benedict set the tone for this trip with his first stop, the tomb of the Muslim founder of modern Turkey. Kemal Ataturk is deeply revered here, in part because he kept his religion separate from his politics. Because of him, this country has a secular government, even though the population is 99% Muslim. Today, Benedict laid a wreath at Ataturk's grave, then signed the visitor's book with Ataturk's words, "Peace at home, peace in the world," an ideal popes and people of any faith can agree on. Benedict stressed that this was a pastoral, not a political visit. But in this part of the world, in these turbulent times, politics are impossible to avoid, especially for the Pope.
Almost everywhere he puts his foot down on this trip, there are potential, landmines waiting to go off.
That's because on his last trip to Germany, he dropped a political bombshell by suggesting that Islam is irrational and violent. In a speech about faith and reason, he quoted a medieval text sharply critical of Islam for using the sword to spread the faith. That sparked angry protests across the Muslim world.
It was almost as though unknowingly he dropped a hand grenade in the middle of a innocuous and perplexing speech on middle-age theology.
Here in Turkey, the stage was set for a confrontation. Thousands of Muslim demonstrators took to the streets Sunday. Their slogan, Papa Gelmesin, Pope, don't come. The original focus of this trip was to have been healing a 1,000-year schism between the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church. But in the wake of the Pope's remarks in Germany, the focus has inevitably shifted to Islam. At the very last minute, Vatican officials added a stop here at Turkey's most famous mosque. They said the Pope wanted to show his respect for Islam.
I think this is a completely diplomatic move, but it's a good one to at least go and visit the mosque. But it's really a photo opportunity, no more than that, unless this is a symbol of his changing really his deep attitude about what does Christian ecumenism mean. Are Muslims the children of a lesser God, as the Americans would say, or this is a religion which is false and only Christians are saved? You know, these very, very central questions.
On at least some issues, the Pope has changed, and he showed that today. As a cardinal, he opposed Turkey's entry into the European Union. He said to allow Turkey to join would be a grave error because Europe is Christian. But today he told the Turkish Prime Minister the Church would welcome Turkey's admission to Europe. Vatican officials quickly clarified that the Church has no real say in the matter anyway.
He is trying to bend over backwards to send signals to the Muslim community that he does not want to do anything provocative, and that he wants to make sure that he takes their sensitivities into account.
But on other issues, Benedict is standing his ground. Today, Turkey's chief Islamic cleric made a pointed reference to the Germany speech by citing, quote, the so-called conviction that the sword is used to spread Islam. Islamophobia, he said, hurts all Muslims. But Benedict did not take the bait. He answered that peace is the basis of all religions. Later, addressing foreign diplomats,
Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs, I have prepared my speech in French as the language of the diplomacy.
He expanded on that thought, asking all religious leaders to renounce violence.
They utterly refuse to sanction recourse to violence as a legitimate expression of religion.
His new approach, so far, seems to satisfy his critics.
And I think the Pope realizes now he is the Pope, he's not a Catholic theologian in the ordinary sense, and the great responsibility of speaking across religious frontiers and barriers between different religions is a very heavy one.
But this was just day one of the Pope's trip. He has many miles to go, and his every gesture will be carefully scrutinized. For better or worse, Benedict has put himself at the center of one of the great issues of our time.
He doesn't want people to be confused by having interreligious dialogue that people might see that all religions are pretty much the same and they're all equal. Catholicism, Islam, Judaism, they're all perfectly fine. They're all perfectly about the same. Any path will get you to God. That's not the way he sees it.
If the great challenge for John Paul II was handling the world of communism, the world of godless communism, as a man of faith, as a great Christian preacher, then the great challenge for Pope Benedict is clearly dealing with the world of Islam.
Despite his wish to be seen as a pastor, he's also a political figure, a world leader. Here in Turkey, for the first time, Benedict feels the weight of that responsibility with every footstep. I'm David Wright for Nightline in Ankara.
Turkey is, of course, a holy place for Christians as well. Tomorrow, the Pope flies to the town where the Virgin Mary is believed to have spent the last year of her life. When we come back, the plight of the penguins. Humans say they love penguins, but human behavior is placing these iconic birds in peril.
Ask your doctor about controlled release formula Ambien CR. Then call today for a 7-day free trial offer. It's the only sleep aid with 2 layers to help treat both types of sleep problems. One dissolves quickly to help you fall asleep fast. The other dissolves slowly to help you stay asleep. Ambien CR is a treatment option you and your doctor can consider along with lifestyle changes and can be taken for as long as your doctor recommends. Until you know how Ambien CR will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Be sure you're able to devote 7 to 8 hours to sleep before being active again. Side effects may include next-day drowsiness, dizziness, and headache. It's non-narcotic. However, like most sleep medicines, it has some risk of dependency. take it with alcohol. A good night's sleep shouldn't be an on-off thing, so call today for your 7-day free trial offer of the latest Ambien, Ambien CR. And don't forget the CR.
Wherever good can overcome, that is where your contributions to the Salvation Army go.
Hey, you got Singular?
No, Sprint.
Sprint mobile broadband downloads 5 times faster than Singular's Edge.
Well, I'm done.
Because in business, it pays to keep moving. Get the power of the nation's largest mobile broadband network. Get a free mobile broadband card. Visit sprint.com/mobile broadband. Sprint. Power up.
He's at it again.
So maybe you're cheap.
Wednesday, John Stossel's taking on billionaires and all those trendy, lavish charity balls.
You should give more.
Cheap in America. Who gives? Who doesn't? Just wait until you see. A 2020 special Wednesday at 10.
Hi, I'm Bob Lampier Jr., and these two cars may look similar, but they are really different. This car was selected from over 500 used cars at Beaverton Chrysler's pre-owned superstore. This car wasn't. This one came with a 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty, and this one may be in the shop for 6 months. This one came with an inspection report and Carfax in the glove box. This one came with a taco under the seat. This car came with our famous 7-day right of exchange. The buyer of this car may be stuck with it. See the difference for yourself in Beaverton.
Nightline continues from New York City with Cynthia McFadden.
Now to penguins and politics. No question about this. Americans are in love with penguins. The animated movie Happy Feet is the reigning 2-week champ at the box office. Last year, it was a documentary, March of the Penguins, which had audiences in their thrall. But what is life like off-screen for these charismatic birds? ABC's Bill Blakemore reports humans are taking their food and melting their ice.
In Happy Feet, now rocking packed theaters across the country, a young emperor penguin named Mumble and a few of his close friends dance in animated joy at the southern end of the planet. A problem with humans overfishing the penguins' food is soon resolved by our hero, and the joy resumes. The Antarctic reality? Many of their real-life counterparts are struggling to survive, say scientists and other experts, not only because of extensive overfishing, on track soon to increase many-fold, but also global warming, now threatening to melt the frozen sea surface many penguins need for survival, and several other problems, including oil spills and humans getting just too close. The cumulative effect of all this, not good.
These animals that have waddled and tap danced their way into the hearts of the American public are in serious trouble.
Today, the Center for Biological Diversity filed a petition with the U.S. government to list 12 of the world's 19 penguin species as endangered, including the biggest of all, the 4-foot-tall emperor penguins, who astonish scientists with their ability to dive down more than 1,600 feet hunting for food, holding their breath for 20 minutes. This colony of emperors, made famous in the popular documentary March of the Penguins, its numbers have fallen by 50% over the past half-century, say scientists. And that's not just because many penguins have no natural fear of humans, since humans were not around when the penguins evolved. The emperor's main food, tiny shrimp-like creatures called krill, are being taken in enormous catches, mostly to be ground up and fed to farm-raised salmon, so loved by humans. Bigger fishing ships on the way may soon increase the krill catch to 5 times as much. And global warming? Those emperor penguins from March of the Penguins breed and incubate their eggs in the dark of midwinter because they need the frozen sea surface to stand on. Scientists warn that global warming will increase at least 2 more degrees in coming decades, freezing the sea ice even later in autumn, melting it even sooner in spring. Too soon for young penguins to swim. The make-believe movie Happy Feet, that now has people dancing in their seats, ends in a joyful celebration with humanity doing everything necessary to protect the penguins. But real-world scientists say that unless humanity figures out how to reverse the course down south, this happy ending will remain just wishful thinking. This is Bill Blakemore for Nightline in New York.
Global warming isn't just affecting penguins found only in the southern hemisphere, but polar bears found only in the North Pole are now also in peril as well. And a final note, global warming will be the subject before the Supreme Court tomorrow, with a group of 12 states suing the Environmental Protection Agency for failing to limit the carbon dioxide emitted by new cars. The Bush administration insists the EPA has no such power. And when we come back, a look at tomorrow night and being Jay-Z.
Who are you shopping for?
My mom.
What did you get her last year?
Last year I got her a flowery picture frame. Before that I got her a silver picture frame and a panda bear picture frame.
Kid, get her a Canon digital camera. Like this PowerShot A540. 6 megapixels, 4 times optical zoom.
Just $199.98.
Thanks, Mr. Humperdinck.
Send that to your mom.
This week, buy any Canon PowerShot digital camera and get a special bonus offer on a Canon photo printer. Another unexpected gift from Staples.
Tonight, spend less time lying awake with annoying aches and pains and more time asleep when you switch from Tylenol PM to new Advil PM. Advil PM lets you enjoy less time lying awake and more time asleep. So switch from Tylenol PM to Advil PM. Get the multi-pain relieving power of Advil, plus a non-habit-forming sleep aid that gently eases you into a full night's sleep. New Advil PM. Less time lying awake, more time asleep.
Wednesday, 2 partners.
I've done something terrible.
Whose futures depend on each other's survival.
It's over.
Wednesday's #1 new hit.
How did they find me?
All new Daybreak. Wednesday at 9, 8 Central. Only on ABC.
Your commute just got easier with KATU Beat the Traffic. Weekday mornings from 5 to 7 on KATU.